The Ukrainian armed forces have successfully struck a concentration of military equipment and personnel of the Russian army in Lvov, Kursk Oblast. Among the occupiers, the enemy counts its losses. As reported by Russian Z propagandists, the positions of the Russian army were located in the area of the Rosneft gas station at the exit from Lvov. Probably the occupiers were in the building of the KamAZ spare parts store located nearby. According to some ZWAR correspondents, there were only 3 flights. According to them, the Ukrainian armed forces used some powerful missiles. Other propagandists report that the attack was carried out beforehand from the HIMARS MLRS. Local publics write that the city was very noisy. The site of the attack is currently cordoned off by Russian military and operational services. The exact number of liquidated occupiers is still unknown. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has not commented on this information at the moment. 3 strikes were carried out on the concentration of equipment and personnel with intervals of 5 to 7 minutes. The exact number of Russian military casualties and injuries remains unknown. The Okal Telegram channel Pepel Kursk states, at the same time, it was reported that Russian civilians were also injured and infrastructure near the impact site sustained damage. Ukraine regularly strikes military targets within Russia as Moscow continues to wage its war against Ukraine. Recall, President Vladimir Putin has visited Kursk for the first time since his troops ejected Ukrainian forces from the Russian city. The Russian president met with volunteer organizations and visited a nuclear power plant in the region, the Kremlin said. Putin said late last month that his forces had ejected Ukrainian troops from the Kursk region, which ended the largest incursion into Russian territory since the Second World War. Putin said during his visit that Ukrainian forces were still trying to move toward the Russian border. He also ordered an increase in the number of demining units in Kursk, so displaced residents can return home. Kiev poured precious resources into holding onto its territory in Kursk during its months-long incursion, with the view of using it as a key bargaining chip in any peace talks. Such dialogue did not materialize until last week, when teams from Kiev and Moscow met in person in Turkey to begin discussing an end to the war. After Russia claimed to have retaken control of Kursk in April, Kiev insisted its troops are fiercely battling to preserve their foothold in the territory. Last week, Ukraine said it is still pursuing the ground war inside Russia.
Ukrainian military intelligence has released another intercepted phone call in which a Russian commander is heard ordering his troops to open fire on fellow Russian soldier. In the recording, the commander is heard saying, "He will open his mouth at home, but here let him shut his mouth and follow orders. If he refuses completely, then shoot him in the arm, in the leg. Neutralize him. Did you hear what I just told you?" it adds. The intercepted communication was published by the I Want to Live. According to Kiev Post, in the recording the person also used the term zeroed out, a term used in Russian military slang to refer to the killing or crippling of their own comrades. The I Want to Live initiative, in its Telegram update, suggested the incident as part of a broader pattern of internal repression within the Russian military. Any manifestation of adequacy is considered disobedience and is punishable by execution, the project alleged. The project also mocked the Russian military for openly broadcasting the order via radio, the reason for its interception by the Ukrainian military, suggesting to potential Russian deserters that Moscow's military command has no regard for their well-being. An order to reset a fellow serviceman by a Russian commander in the open air without registration or SMS. If anyone still thinks that the Russian armed forces are somehow hiding this, then here is another proof of the opposite, the update says. The I Want to Live project was launched in September 2022. Its goal is to help willing Russian servicemen safely surrender to Ukrainian captivity and save their lives. In case of surrender, the project guarantees detention in accordance with the Geneva Conventions. In addition, such Russians are also guaranteed that they will not be exchanged or returned to the Russian Federation if they wish. If a Russian registers with "I want to live" in advance, the Ukrainian side registers him as having been captured in combat, meaning that he receives payments and status in Russia.
Russian Z-patriots, most of whom are also rabid xenophobes, have a new grand betrayal. The 17-year-old son of the head of Chechnya Ramzan Kadyrov, Adam, has distinguished himself with a new prank. The scandal arose because of a video recently published by former Smolensk City Council deputy and participant in the aggression against Ukraine, Maxim Baranov. In the video, Baranov runs next to a car driven by 17-year-old Adam Kadyrov. This event occurred during tests for the right to wear a maroon beret. This humiliating episode caused a stormy reaction in pro-war circles. The author of the channel Hammer of Justice Z did not hide his anger. Another video humiliating Russians with the participation of Chechens has appeared on social networks. In the video, Deputy Baranov, like a servant, runs after a car driven by underage Adam Kadyrov. He was echoed by Z-blogger Alexei Zivov, sarcastically noting, "Everything in this video is so wonderful that there is no need to even comment on anything." They write that former Smolensk deputy Baranov is running after Adam Kadyrov's car. Baranov's attempts to justify himself look pathetic and unconvincing. In a comment to Russian media, he said that he ran not after Kadyrov's car, but next to it, explaining this by his desire to quickly cover the distance during the tests for the right to wear a maroon beret. His words about the comfortable pace and conversation that allegedly began with the young Kadyrov only emphasize the absurdity of the situation and the deep humiliation of the Russian official forced to serve the son of a regional autocrat. This incident highlights not only the servility of the Russian elite to the Chechen Kadyrov clan, but also the cynicism of the entire Russian propaganda machine. Those same Z-bloggers who call for the greatness of Russia and patriotism are forced to watch and comment on such scenes, demonstrating deep social inequality and the actual lack of rights, even for government officials in the face of the Kadyrov vertical. It is noteworthy that Adam Kadyrov, despite his young age, has already managed to receive a number of high awards from the Russian authorities, which testifies to his special position and influence. Against the backdrop of media reports about the serious illness of his father, Ramzan Kadyrov, there are increasingly frequent suggestions that it is the junior who is preparing to become his successor. The story of the fleeing deputy Baranov is not just a curious incident. It is a vivid illustration of a deep systematic problem in Russia, where humiliation is becoming the norm and imperial ambitions coexist with a complete lack of self-esteem among representatives of the so-called ruling elite. While Russian soldiers are dying on Ukrainian soil for the delirious ideas of the Russian world, their former party colleagues are forced to run after the cars of teenagers who are vested with power only because of their origin.